It was a quiet afternoon in an upscale restaurant. What followed was an unforgettable moment that left everyone speechless. Jide Martins had worked hard his entire life. A Nigerian immigrant, he had built a stable life and prided himself on keeping his head high despite the challenges. Today was supposed to be special. He had saved up to dine at one of the finest restaurants in town, a place where the rich and famous ate without a care in the world. He stepped inside, adjusting the sleeves of his black shirt. His jeans were a little worn, and his sneakers weren't designer, but he was clean and presentable. The moment he walked in, he felt it. That energy, the kind that made it clear he wasn't welcome. The hostess, a young woman with sharp blue eyes, hesitated before glancing toward the restaurant manager, a heavy-set man with slicked-back blonde hair standing a few feet away. Jide followed her gaze and immediately knew where this was going. The manager didn't bother hiding his expression. The way his eyes flicked over Jide's clothes, the condescending arch of his brow, the smug way he straightened his tie before speaking. "Can I help you?" "I'd like a table," the manager scoffed. "Do you have a reservation?" Jide glanced around. The restaurant was nearly empty. At least half a dozen tables sat unoccupied, freshly cleaned and waiting for guests. "I don't, but I see plenty of open tables." The manager's smirk widened. "We're fully booked." A beat of silence. Jide inhaled through his nose, keeping his expression calm. He had been through this before. Different place, same story. He was used to the coded language. "We're at capacity. There's a private event." "Sorry, we just ran out of tables." All different ways of saying the same thing. "Fully booked?" Jide asked, voice steady. The manager nodded, arms folding across his chest. "Afraid so, and we have a dress code here," he added, looking Jide up and down with obvious disdain. Jide clenched his jaw. "The dress code excuse." "Sir," the hostess cut in, her voice uncertain. "I think—" The manager silenced her with a sharp glance. The surrounding diners had begun to notice. Some exchanged glances, a few whispered. A well-dressed couple at the corner table shifted uncomfortably, clearly realizing what was happening but saying nothing. The waitstaff avoided looking in Jide's direction, pretending to be busy. Jide exhaled. He wasn't about to beg for a meal. If they didn't want his money, that was their loss. He turned to leave. Then the doors swung open. Everything changed in an instant. The air inside the restaurant shifted. Gasps, stares. One of the waiters nearly dropped a tray. The hostess stood frozen, her mouth slightly open. A new presence had entered the room. Jide didn't even have to turn around to know it was someone important. The kind of person who could walk into a place like this and make people forget how to breathe. Then, the manager's entire demeanor changed. His smug expression vanished. His arms unfolded, hands smoothing down his tie as his eyes widened in shock. His lips parted, but no words came out. Jide turned, and there he was. The celebrity, the superstar. The man whose name alone could shut down entire city blocks. Tall, effortlessly stylish, wearing an expensive designer coat and sunglasses, he exuded a presence that made the entire room feel smaller. And he wasn't alone. Several others trailed behind him, bodyguards, assistants, maybe even a few high-profile friends. But the only thing that mattered was what happened next. Because in front of everyone, the celebrity walked right up to Jide. And then, he did the unthinkable. He clapped a hand on Jide's shoulder. The restaurant went silent. The manager's face turned ghost white. The celebrity smirked. "Hey, man, didn't know you were in town. You eating here?" Jide took a moment. Let it sink in. Because now the entire restaurant was watching. Every eye on them, every ear listening. The manager couldn't even blink. Jide let his lips curl into the slightest smirk. "Well, I was told they're fully booked." The celebrity's brow shot up. His expression shifted. Not angry, but amused. Dangerous. Fully booked? Jide nodded. The celebrity turned to the manager. His sunglasses lowered just slightly, revealing sharp, piercing eyes. That true? The manager looked like he wanted to disappear. He stammered. The celebrity leaned in just slightly. Because I'd hate to think my friend here was being turned away, for any reason other than a full house. Silence. Then the manager did the fastest 180 anyone had ever seen. Oh, sir, of course. I didn't realize. Please, right this way. We have a wonderful table available. His voice was suddenly drenched in fake politeness, the arrogance from earlier completely gone. Jide held back a laugh. Oh, so now there's a table? The other diners watched in stunned silence, some with satisfaction, others with guilt, but Jide wasn't finished yet. He turned to the celebrity, voice casual. I don't know. I mean, if they were full a second ago, I wouldn't want to inconvenience them. The manager's face dropped. No! No inconvenience at all! Please! The celebrity chuckled, shaking his head. What do you think, Jide? Should we take our business elsewhere? And that was the moment the entire restaurant knew the manager had lost, because suddenly he realized what was at stake. This wasn't just about one denied table anymore. If this celebrity left because of discrimination, if word got out, the restaurant's reputation would be destroyed. Panic flashed in the manager's eyes. Sir, please, we would be honored to have you both dine with us. Jide let the moment linger. He could feel the desperation. Then finally he sighed. I guess we'll stay. The manager nearly collapsed in relief. And just like that, the same man who had just turned Jide away was now bending over backward to accommodate him. As they sat at the best table in the house, Jide caught the nervous glances from the staff, the way they now treated him with exaggerated respect, the way the manager hovered, making sure everything was perfect. And Jide? He just smiled, because in the end, justice had been served. But little did they know, this was only the beginning. Jide sat at the best table in the house, sipping on the complimentary wine they had rushed to offer him. The restaurant staff, who had just minutes ago ignored his presence, now hovered like desperate servants. The manager stood nearby, eyes darting between Jide and the celebrity sitting beside him. Every movement he made was calculated, every breath uneasy. His entire demeanor flipped from arrogance to servitude. The whispers among the diners had turned into hushed murmurs of disbelief. They knew exactly what had happened. They had seen it with their own eyes, watched as the same man who was denied a seat was now being treated like royalty. The shift was embarrassing, desperate, and humiliating, but the night was far from over. The celebrity leaned back, his smirk never fading. So, he said, turning his head to the manager, tell me again, you were fully booked, right? The manager swallowed hard. Because I'd love to know how that changed so fast, the celebrity continued, voice smooth but sharp, cutting through the air like a blade. 1 second, no seats. The next, VIP treatment. Funny how that works. The manager opened his mouth, but no words came out. He was trapped. He couldn't admit what he had done, couldn't say out loud that he had lied because he thought Jide didn't belong here, but everyone in the room knew. The silence was suffocating. Jide picked up his fork, taking his time. The food was good, really good. And something about eating it right in front of the man who had tried to turn him away made it even better. He didn't rush, didn't let the tension rush him. He was going to enjoy every bite. Then the doors swung open again. More cameras, more people. The celebrity's entourage had arrived, and with them, a storm that the manager was woefully unprepared for. Journalists, photographers, a few influencers who recognized the moment for what it was, They weren't here for a casual meal. They were here to witness. The flash of cameras filled the restaurant as murmurs turned into gasps. People who had just been silently watching were now whispering, pulling out their own phones, recording from the corners of the room. It was unfolding live, and there was nothing the manager could do to stop it. The celebrity leaned forward, resting his elbows on the table, watching the panic seep into the manager's face. "You know what's crazy?" he mused. "This is the kind of thing people need to see." The manager took a step back. "Sir, please, there's no need to..." "No need to what?" The celebrity's smirk widened. "No need to talk about how you denied my friend service? No need to talk about how suddenly you're bending over backward because you realized who he knows?" The silence was lethal. Jide kept eating, unfazed. The tension didn't belong to him. It belonged to the man standing across from him, whose entire career, business, and reputation were falling apart in real time. The celebrity pulled out his phone and, with a few taps, went live. The manager's breath hitched. "Yo," the celebrity said, grinning at the camera. "Y'all won't believe what just happened. Let me put you on." 1,000 views. 5,000. 10. It was climbing fast. The internet was listening. The story was out before the manager could even try to stop it. The celebrity turned the camera toward Jide. "So, this my guy. Came in here, just wanted a meal, you know, like anyone else. But guess what? Manager here tells him they're fully booked, while the whole place empty." The comment section exploded. "No way. Where's the manager? You, this is wild. Expose them." The celebrity turned the camera toward the manager, whose face had lost all color. "Want to explain that, big guy?" The manager's hands trembled. "Sir, please. This is a misunderstanding." Jide finally looked up. "It's not, though," he said casually. "You just didn't want to serve me. But now you're shaking." A waitress in the back covered her mouth. A businessman at a nearby table looked away, pretending to be invested in his food. The room was choking on the tension. The manager took a stumbling step forward. We don't discriminate here." The celebrity let out a laugh. "Oh, you don't? Cool bet." He turned the camera to his followers. "Y'all think we should let this slide?" The comments were brutal. "Cancel him. Shut it down. That place needs to lose everything. Make them regret it." The manager knew. He knew it was over. His restaurant would never survive this. His name would never recover. Jide placed his napkin on the table. "You know what? I'm full." He stood, stretching, exhaling slowly. "But since you were so kind to give me a seat, I think we should let the world decide if you deserve any customers at all." The manager's breath caught in his throat. "Please!" Jide turned to the celebrity. "Let's go." The celebrity nodded, slipping his phone back into his pocket. "Let's!" And just like that, they walked out, leaving behind a man whose entire empire was already crumbling.